consistently following someone. So, according to Police UK, stalking and harassment is when someone repeatedly behaves in a way that makes you feel scared, distressed, or threatened. There are different types. Anyone can be a victim. Harassment may include bullying at school or in the workplace, cyber stalking, using the internet to harass someone, antisocial behavior, sending abusive text messages, sending unwanted gifts, unwanted phone calls, letters, emails, or visits. So many of you heard the call to Jerry that's been played. I think Dan Wotton played it on his show today. So that would be an unwanted phone call. Jerry, when he answered the phone, was obviously miffed and wanted to get off the line as fast as possible and hung up. So that was definitely an unwanted phone call. But this says plural phone calls. I don't know Julia's pattern of phone calling the McCanns, and I would advise it's absolutely not to persist from not do any of that in the future. And then it says stalking is like harassment, but it's more aggressive. The stalker will have an obsession with the person they're targeting. Someone you know could be stalking you, an ex-partner or person you were friends with, or it might be a stranger. If it's someone you know or knew, it doesn't mean that it's your fault. It's still stalking and it's an offense. Stalking may include regularly following someone, repeatedly going uninvited to their home, checking someone's internet use, email, or other electronic communication, hanging around somewhere they know the person often visits. So Julia did hang around the McCann's house. Well, she went there once that I'm aware of. And they came back from a shopping trip and she recorded a conversation with them. So she's done two things as far as I'm aware. She's recorded a phone call with Jerry and she's gone to the McCann's property. Interfering with their property is another category. Watching or spying on someone, and then identity theft, signing up to services, buying things in someone's name. It's stalking if the unwanted behavior has happened more than once. Forewarning signs are fixated, obsessive, unwanted, repeated. And it can also come under the category of online stalking. Social network sites, chat rooms, gaming sites, and other forums are used to stalk and harass people, for example, to get personal information, to communicate, calls, texts, emails, social media, create fake accounts, damaging the reputation, spamming and sending viruses, tricking other internet users into harassing or threatening, identity theft, threats to share private information, photographs, copies of messages. And what I will do is I will put the link to the definition of stalking and harassment in the description box. So under the Peter Hyatt link now, we've got Police UK stalking harassment link. I'll put it in the live chat as well in a second, in case you guys want to research that yourselves. Now, I'm wondering if they were fearful that Julia was going to go to the McCann's house again. Had they intercepted any messages between Julia and the friend in Cardiff, the friend who took Julia or was with Julia when they went to the McCann's house the previous time? Were they going to do a return journey? Whether any of that exists remains to be seen. All right, so question from Jacqueline. Would Julia be allowed a call? And if so, who do you think Julia would call? So on the stream that we did last night, the late night one, Jacqueline, it came up in the live chat that people thought that Julia was in Keynsham Police Station. So I went to Keynsham Police Station and spoke to a lady there. And she said when you are arrested, you have to list a contact person, and that is the only person who the police are allowed to give information out to about you, and that's the only person you would be allowed to call. So I imagine that would be Julia's media representative, Sinclair. It certainly wasn't me. It certainly wasn't Jen, because we both tried to get information, and they just rebutted us with the same answer that I just gave to you, Jacqueline. Yeah. All right. Will Shaun go to the police station tonight if she gets out? I would love to see Julia when she gets out. So we will be standing by if that is the case. And she is welcome to come here, like I've said. Bailey, I think she is Maddie's twin by IVF. Mum's donated. Yeah, like I said, this when you don't know what's happened for sure in a situation like this, it's a mystery. And it just leads to all kinds of different theories. So, sir, I've not spoke to John Wedger about this yet. I imagine that Ron might have. Is John Wedger coming on, or is he advising you? We need John, if you're watching, please come on. That would be phenomenal, wouldn't it? Put one in the chat if you want John Wedger to come on ASAP. Louis Patron, why won't they take the test? Well, that's the $60 million question. All this was so unnecessary. King Penguin, can you be sent information, Shaun? Yep. Got a website, ShaunAttwood.com. There's a contact page, and it's got my email address on it. So you can send me information through that way. And we need Sarah, her Instagram. No, we've already covered her Instagram. It's not disappeared. I've just double checked it. Who is the lady from Cardiff? Is she a blogger or an investigator? All I know is the lady from Cardiff is the same lady that went to the McCann's house together. And there was rumors of an agent provocateur. I don't know. This lady, I've never met her. I don't know what her intentions are. Adopted parents either. Am I right in guessing that she does not get along with her adopted parents either? It's a very strange situation where Julia's, let's call them the parents in Poland, are refusing to do DNA as well. And Julia's saying there's no early evidence of her existence. Is it true that Julia was a difference of 2 years in age between her and Maddie? I'm not aware of that. There was that question was put to Julia in one of the back episodes, and Julia said she was told her age. She doesn't know really what age she is. So the 2-year anomaly could have come from a birth certificate whereby somebody just made up the age of Julia's age. That was, I'm paraphrasing what Julia said, but the link is in the description box if you want to go and watch all of the back episodes with Julia. You might want to watch them because episode 2 was removed today. And we don't know how long the rest of them may stand. And it was removed for legal reasons that I'm not allowed to talk about. You get a good psychic. Yeah, we've got Bev on the case, and I spoke to Bev today, and she has said that Julia. In fact, let me look at my WhatsApp now and see if anything. Oh, Bev's saying that she is willing to join. So, if you want me to get Bev to join and give her perspective, put a 1 in the chat. Hey, Bev, if you are still awake, I'm an hour in right now. I'm live. I've only just seen your message. But I will send you by email the StreamYard link. I'm going to do that right now. You are more than welcome to join me. There's a few messages have come in. Let's get this link over to Bev. Just bear with me, folks. Looks like everyone wants Bev to come in. Let's see. Reply. So, to Bev. And I'll send it to the Saturday Psychic Live link as well. Link. Julia. All right. I've just sent the link to Bev. Yeah, she's just responded. I am awake, so send me the link. Great. And Ron has sent some messages. Oh, my battery's just gone. I'm going to replace that in a second. So this is a kind article, as most have been, but they don't call her derogatory names. So there's a article right there in the Mirror. I think that's the one Ron is referring to. And then he sent me something about Chile. Let me have a look. Certainly has gone all over the world. So there's my battery back in. It says, Ron has said, it's all over the world, the ladies. All right, still at the police station, awaiting a decision to charge or not. All right, so the latest is that both Julia and her friend are still incarcerated and awaiting a decision from the police as to whether they are going to be charged or not. That was sent to me 30 minutes ago. So there we have it, folks. That's the absolute latest on this story. And here's Beverly. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Shaun. Hi.
I've just got a message. I'm just going to repeat this to you. I've just got a message 30 minutes ago. And it says that the ladies are still at the police station awaiting a decision to be charged or not. That is the latest news.
Well, that's good. At least we now know. I did send a message to John Wedder earlier, because we work together. So what I did was mention to him that you have a show and that maybe if he's still up and about, he might be able to join. So I'm busy watching my texts to see whether he texts me back. And if he does, then you never know. You might end up with both of us. But if you remember earlier today, I said about the transportation, that she'd been moved, and obviously that was right because she's at the police station. So that's very good. And we just got to wait for them to decide whether she can be charged. I think there's going to be some push to hang some sort of a charge. That's the energy that I get from what's happening around her. Yeah, but not so much the 60-year-old. It's going to be more to do with Julia, sadly.
So do you think it's just completely politicized now, Bev? And it's lawfare? Because I've read the definition of stalking and harassment this evening and yesterday, and I don't see how Julia fits into those categories based on what I know about Julia. Perhaps the police have more information that I'm not aware of. That's a possibility. But presently, from what we are aware of, and speaking to Julia's representative, I don't see how it fits into stalking and harassment.
Yeah, I can see why not, but I think that there's some other form of undercurrent, and I think that there are many other areas, like, I think there's also a connection where I believe that she was at one of the vigils and that she was standing quite close to them. So there might be pictures or footage of that. And I think that slowly but surely, since December, they have been, and probably before that even too, they have been collecting evidence against Julia. And that's why we know that this was planned. From the energies surrounding all of this, there was that undercurrent to make sure that if she ever came back into the UK, that they would have enough information to try to hang some sort of a charge on her. And I think that that's pretty much what's happened. And I know that both yourself, myself, Ron, John, anyone that she had spoken to, we would have all said to her, please do not come back to the UK, because, you know, there is a risk that this sort of thing would happen. We would have all said the same thing to her. And I'm guessing that's why she never told anyone.
So between the vigil then and the recorded phone call and the doorstepping, we've got 3 separate incidents that we know about, and Sandra's saying
You only
it
need 3.
is stalking, because stalking is classed as repeated unwanted contact.
Yeah.
Julia has repeatedly contacted and confronted the McCanns over the last 2 years. Viewers, put a 1 in the chat if you think, you know, due to the multiple incidences, you think the police could classify this as stalking. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that Julia has not committed the legal definition of stalking.
And I agree with you. It's a very difficult situation, but I think that, and I come back to this undercurrent energetics, that where there's all these frequencies that are moving and changing, and there's a lot of energy behind it. So there's a great push, I think, behind this to basically find a situation where they can just squash all this once and for all. And it's not just the individuals involved. There's a lot of other, when you see, it's like a drop of water, you know, dropping into a pond. It has lots and lots of rings around it. And this is what we see with energetics, is it's almost like, you know, a butterfly moving its wings over this side of the world, and then you end up with a tsunami on the other side of the world. And that's what we're looking at. We're watching energy in action, really.
So Beverly, a commonality between the Bristol arrest and the doorstepping is the lady from Cardiff. I'm not aware whether the lady from Cardiff was present at the vigil, but, you know, many people are wondering about the intentions of this person as a mature person, 60 years old. This person is supposed to be, according to the media. The fact that this person keeps reoccurring in scenarios that we would have advised Julia against. I mean, what are you picking up any energy of what kind of intention the person in Cardiff may have?
That's a really good question, Shaun. The lady in Cardiff has tried to speak out quite categorically to say to Julia, this, you know, this is not a wise action. You know, are you aware of the risks? This is what you could be doing. And because she hasn't been able to speak her out of her actions, because we know that when she's decided that that's what she wishes to do, which is obviously her free will as a sovereign soul, she can make those decisions, obviously. When the lady has realized that she's not going to change her trajectory and she's not going to change her mind, what happens is that energy from her is that in order to protect her as best she can at her age, and to try to be there for her and to help her through this, she has accompanied her. And she's actually put herself at risk now. But she knew that. So that's why she went with Julia. That's what the energy reading is.
All right. So, you know, that's good to hear that this lady has been acting in a protective capacity.
Yeah.
So are you saying then that Julia was dead set on doing these things, and this lady has gone along against, you know, her better judgment would have been to tell Julia that it's not a good idea to do these things, but she's gone along anyway to protect Julia, knowing Julia's so strong-headed that she would have done it with or without. Is that what you're saying?
I am, and I get this energetics where I'm hearing this lady saying, are you sure this is what you want to do? Are you? And she has said it 3 times. So that means that energy is already in the atmosphere. It's already in the different dimension where you get information from. And when you look at that, she said, are you sure that this is what you want to do? Are you sure this is what, are you sure you can't, will you not change your mind? All of that energy is almost like, in a way, it's almost like a pleading energy where she's asking, are you sure? Are you really sure this is what you want to do? And Julia has said, no, I've got to get clarity. I've got to get closure. I've got to understand. And, once someone is decided that that is what's necessary, then you do everything you can to make ends meet and understand, where did I come from, what's happening. And I think she will continue until she finds out what she needs to find out.
So an interesting point has been raised whereby in many jurisdictions, and this applied to me in America, when you get arrested, they automatically take your DNA. And there's a theory that this whole thing could have been a strategy by Julia, or she could have been aware of the risk of arrest and they're able to put a strategy in motion at that point whereby it would force the DNA issue, it would force them to take her DNA, and it would cause so much public outrage. I mean, even the detractors, for example, Dan Wootton had a show today calling Julia the fake McCann.
Yes,
even he said this could be laid to rest if they just bloody well did the DNA test.
Yes.
So do you think Julia had the foresight to, realize I'm in the center of a media storm right now. If I go to the UK, I'm at risk of getting arrested, but that might force the DNA issue to resolve once and for all.
Well, I think so. I think she's, from that point of view, she's also very brave. I think she knew that if she was going to get arrested, that they would, if that is something, I mean, I don't know, but John would know whether there's criminal procedures or individuals that are, arrested under caution or arrested for whatever the reason might be and then processed. That part of the processing might be that they take a swab. I'm not sure whether they do or know their fingerprint, but I don't know about the DNA in this country. And if that's the case, it could have been a calculated risk for her. But either way, I think she is brave enough as a young woman to say, I'm close enough to finding out now. I'm going to do whatever I can. And I get that as a strength within her, that no matter what, I'm going to see this through to the end, which obviously is her right to do so.
Well, I think that it is going to cause people to be outraged and put even more pressure on the government just resolve this. If it only costs £60 it's obscene that it's not been done. So there's an interesting point being raised here then about leaving your number for Julia. So last night I went to one of the police stations here in Bristol, spoke to a lady, and she said to be the contact person, the person getting arrested has to register you and your number. But isn't that a catch-22? Because if they take your phone, how would you know the number of the person you want to contact unless you memorized it? Anyway, it's a moot point at this point because I suspect that Julia's contact person was the media person, and I spoke to him today, and she's lawyered up. But it's moot at this point. But if you are out there in the world and you are at risk of getting arrested, you better bloody well memorize the phone number of your contact person because you'd have no way to speak to anybody otherwise. You're in a complete catch-22.
Yeah, that's very true. And but I do think that she does have some phone numbers memorized and I think that her go-to individuals will be memorized most definitely, because I think she was concerned, is the energy I got from her when she got on the plane in Warsaw. She definitely, and she would have also made sure that her little dog was taken care of and made sure there was sufficient food and all of that. So she was concerned when she left that something like this might happen, and made sure that her little dog was taken care of and that she knew what she was walking into. So I think she's very brave in what she's doing.
All right, so here's another interesting point then. If a DNA test is done by the UK authorities, will they be honest about it at this point? Because in America, there are cases where DNA labs have been caught corresponding with prosecutors, asking them, what result do you want?
Goodness. Wow.
Yeah. Do you think we can get an honest DNA result from the UK authorities?
Personally, the frequency around that, particularly just with this case, what I'm seeing with them is I don't believe that there will be an honest outcome that will be provided. I don't see that, no. I think that it'll go the way that the organizations require it to be settled, shall we say. I'm being very careful what I'm saying. But yeah, it will be the result that is the expected result. That is what will happen. We're dealing with a very, very large, bias here, and they will make sure that whatever comes out will fit the agenda that's required.
Which leads to my next point then about these organizations.